Hey guys, it's Bonks, bringing you another review today, another gameplay review. Today we are vibing unbelievably hard, chilling as fuck right now. It's like quite late for me, but yeah, I'm just do this review. Teach you guys some League of Legends on this nice evening. Listening to some jazz, you know what it is. So today we're looking at a Zed review, actually. This player here is Zed99. You may have heard of him. A lot of people say he's the best Zed in the world. I don't know if that's true or not. There may be some better Zeds, but he is really fucking good at Zed. And I figured, I haven't done any melee mid reviews. And one of the hardest things to do in mid lane is to play a melee versus ranged matchup. And one of the hardest ranged champs to play against is Orianna. So what better way to show you how to play the melee versus ranged matchup than with the Zed99 bod. Sorry, I just forgot what I was saying there. The best Zed in the world, clapping some Orianna cheeks. Actually, I only watched 5 minutes of this game. I don't really know how it pans out, but the early game was really good, so I want to talk about it. So, the way these matchups work, melee versus range, specifically in mid lane, it's a bit different in other lanes, but specifically in mid lane, we're going to be talking about the lane opening this game, which is usually the lane opening means how you play the first 3 to 4 waves, if you don't know. The thing with lane openings as a melee champ is when you're playing against a ranged champ, you don't really get a lane opening because the ranged champion gets to say, they get to do whatever they want, right? And you as a melee champion are just forced to sit back, take the back seat and just hope they make a mistake. Now the thing is, a lot of people don't know what a mistake looks like in the lane opening relative to wave manipulation and stuff. So I'm going to show you what it looks like to find mistakes in the lane opening of the enemy range champ while you're playing a melee champ, how you can exploit that, get a lead, whatnot, using their mistakes. Because theoretically, if a range champ plays perfectly, there isn't much you can do in the early game. You can find opportunities later, but in the early game, there's not much you can do. But a lot of players are really bad and they'll make a lot of mistakes, and so I'm going to show you in this VOD. Now, to understand what a mistake looks like, you need to understand what the ideal scenario for the Orianna is. Now, the ideal scenario for the Orianna is for her to stack the first 3 waves, the first 2 waves plus the cannon wave, stack all 3 of these, slow push them together, crash them all into your tower at once, so crash a wave of 10 or more minions, including the cannon minion, into your tower at around 3 minutes, and after crashing into your tower, either cheat a recall and buy an item, like a dark seal or boots or something, or a cloth against Zed, that's really good, or poke you under tower. So when the wave's under tower, just poke you. And if a mage can do that, sorry, I'll wait for him to, oh for God's sake. Okay, there we go. If a mage can crash a wave into tower and poke you and you're playing a champ like Zed or Kiana or whatever, any melee champ really, any melee champ that spikes to level 3, by the way, this is the case. Champs that spike at level 2 like Talon and Aurelia are slightly different. I'll talk about that in a sec. But if you're playing a champ like Zed that spikes at level 3, the most ideal scenario for the enemy range champion is to crash the wave into your tower and then poke you to quite low HP, right? About this much. About this much after you've used your potions. Now, if you're playing a champ like Talon or Aurelia that spikes level 2, they want to do the same thing, but instead of crashing the first 3 waves, they crash the first 2 waves. This is because if they try and crash 3 waves, you'll hit level 2 while you're pushing into them, and they can maybe all in you. So it can be a bit dangerous. But against champs like Zed that spike at level 3, most melee champs in mid lane spike at level 3, they want to stack the first 3 waves. So a mistake is essentially them failing to do that. Failing to stack the first 3 waves. Or in other words, pushing too fast, crashing the wave too early. And we'll point out later why that's a mistake, why, what that allows you to do and whatnot, but that's essentially what's going to happen in this game. So we'll watch this game, how Zed99 causes the Orianna to crash the wave too early or push it too fast. And also, your objective in this lane basically is to bait out that mistake, so have her push the wave into you too fast, and also not take too much damage. So right here, this right here is already a mistake from Orianna. Right, Orianna wants to slow push the first 3 waves and crash them all into tower. That is the most ideal scenario. So here, when she does this Q, you see here she Qs all 3 of these minions. At this point, right now, all Zed99 needs to do is last hit these minions. Just last hit them. And now this wave will stack with the next wave and it will crash into tower. She wants to stack the first 3 waves, but now, because she's pushed this really quickly, she's only going to stack the first 2 waves. What this means is, I mean, we'll see what it means later. But for now, she's pushed too far. So Zed99, all he needs to do is chill back here and only walk up to Q minions. Or Q her if she's standing in a bad position. So we'll see. Takes a last hit, goes for a Q on her. Could have Q'd the minion, but he decided to... Now, one thing that's important to note here. Normally as Zed, you want to Q the minion, right? You want to Q the minion and just take the last hit that way. The thing is, Orianna just Q'd the wave, so you know her Q is on cooldown. What this means is you can take this last hit. Now, you might be thinking, if he's going to take this last hit, surely Orianna can poke him with auto attacks, right? Which is true. Orianna can auto him here, if she wants to. Now, the problem with that is, it will do the same thing that I was talking about earlier. These 3 minions, if Orianna autos Zed here, will aggro onto Orianna. Right now, look at what these minions are doing. They're shooting these minions, right? They're attacking the enemy minions. If Orianna autos Zed, they will stop attacking the enemy minions and they'll attack Orianna. What this means is Orianna's wave will push into Zed faster. Does that make sense? Essentially, what's going to happen is, because these minions are currently being damaged, they're going to stop being damaged, so they're going to stack up more and push faster. That's essentially what it is. So Orianna doesn't want to just auto Zed once and cause that to happen. Also, Orianna right now is last hitting a minion. That's the other thing. She's also last hitting a minion, so she can't last hit Zed at the same time. So he knew he could walk up and that Orianna's last hitting the minion, and even if Orianna wasn't last hitting the minion, he would still be able to do it anyway, because the Orianna could fuck up the wave by autoing him there. So, yep, Orianna misses Q, and now he can go last hit again. Q's her, really, really nice. Looking for Q's on her is what you want to do. Looking for Q's on the wave there to thin it, not good. So going for a Q on her there is, you know, the kind of thing you want to look for. And look how fast this is pushing here. And look where the wave is now. Look where the first wave is. Because she's pushed it so far, she is now in this position here. What this means is this is pretty much guaranteed to crash. One sec, I just need to let my dog out. I'll pause the recording real quick. Alright, sorry about that. I'm back. So there's something I missed here that I was going to mention. This wave right now, as this wave collides here, Zed99's wave is now going to actually push into Orianna. That is how fast Orianna pushed this wave here, by queuing it at the beginning. It caused this wave to now push back into her. If she... sorry about that. If she does nothing. If Orianna doesn't touch the wave right now, Zed's wave will push back into her. Now this is bad. Orianna doesn't want that, because what that will allow Zed to do is he can stack this wave with... We can't see the map because it's his stream. But he will stack this wave with the next cannon wave, crash it into Orianna, and then do whatever he wants. If he can stack this way with the next one and crash it into tower, he'll be level 3. So he can go for a full combo on Orianna under tower and potentially dive her. He can recall and buy some pots or a longsword depending on his money. He can go and invade the jungler with his jungler. He can go and help his jungler at Scuttle Crab, etc. There are a lot of options he has if this wave pushes into Orianna. So Orianna now has to fix this. And she really doesn't want to do that, because now she's going to have to use her Q or a lot of autos. She's now going to have to auto this wave a lot to fix it, basically, and like throw her Q at it, which means she's spending more time hitting this wave than she is hitting Zed. So essentially what happened here was Orianna pushed the wave too fast with her Q at the beginning. Zed99 acknowledged that, and then he just let it happen. All he did was he just let it push into her, and now Orianna's pushed too fast. And now Orianna's in a position where she has to keep pushing, otherwise it will come back into her too quickly and she'll be in a really bad spot. So, we'll see she does that. She's going to auto the wave. He's just taking last hit Zed, trying to avoid damage. And now here, Orianna actually hits level 2. So as Zed, you need to be careful. When you know the enemy mid laner is coming up on their next level spike, especially in the early game, you should be standing back. So it's really important to realise that Orianna's sitting level 2 here, so you should like stand away. That was a really clean dodge by Zed99 there, wow. Yeah, he knew, right there, he knew Orianna was going to try and Q him as soon as he went for the last hit, so he quickly took the last hit and then kept moving up. So that was pretty smart by him. In general, when you're playing a lane like this, Zed versus Orianna, any melee versus Orianna, Victor, the Zoe, Syndra, those kind of mages that poke you, the only time you should ever give them a chance to hit you with like a poke ability is when you walk up for a last hit. If they hit you when you weren't walking up for a last hit, you fucked up. That's unnecessary damage, you don't need to take it. Which means if the only window you're giving them is when you go to last hit, you know exactly when they're going to throw their ability. They're going to throw their ability the moment you walk in range to last hit. So then it makes it really easy to dodge, right? Because you know it's coming, which is how he was able to dodge this here. And another thing he could have done, if it was like, he might have done this if, say, it was a LeBlanc, right? And the wave was in a different position. If you're playing against the LeBlanc, her trade is obviously much scarier. And let's say the wave was actually, let's wait for the moment where he does this. Let's say the wave was actually like up here and it was a LeBlanc that just hit level 2, right? What he could do is he could walk here, act like he's going to last hit this minion with Q. And then instead of queuing like he does here, he could just walk away. And then the LeBlanc would be fooled, go in, use her W, and it would be like a 12-second cooldown wasted, or whatever it is. It's a pretty long cooldown. So against champs like LeBlanc that have very scary poke that you want to bait out, or like Syndra's Q does a lot of damage, you know, stuff like that. Victor E, like, it's really, really good to pretend to go for last hits to bait it out. And those are the only opportunities they should have. So don't give them an opportunity unless you're going for a last hit. He hits level 2 here, but he's just like chilling, so it doesn't really matter. And now as you can see, Orianna has effectively crashed this wave. It's just in a really awkward spot, right? Like, look where the wave is for Orianna. It's on Zed's side, which means, you know, next wave when Zed hits level 3, the wave's going to be like here. And Orianna's going to be really fucked, right? So the fact that Orianna pushed fast here is really, really bad for her, is what I'm trying to say. So if you're playing Zed and you notice the enemy ranged champion pushes too fast, you need to just let it happen. Because it's much better that she has a wave of 3 caster minions here, in this position, than say she played the game correctly, she would have a wave of, I don't know, 6+ minions all over here. Because she would have just last hit the minions, right? So it's much better the wave's in this position than in this position. So when an enemy laner pushes too fast, it's really important you let it happen, which is what Zed99 has done here, and now the wave is here. And Zed99 is under no threat at all, because if Orianna were to crash this into tower, you know, he can just farm it in like 5 seconds, he'll maybe take that much damage, it's fine, right? But if Orianna played correctly and crashed a wave of 9+ minions on the next wave, Zed99 would be forced to farm 9 minions under tower. Meanwhile, Orianna would get Q like 3 or 4 times during that interaction and probably bring him like to this much HP or this much HP, and he would be really, really screwed. So Orianna pushing too fast here, really good for Zed, because it allows you to minimize the amount of poke you take in the lane as you approach your level 3 spike. He hasn't even used a potion yet, and he's almost level 3. Like, it's amazing for him. He's really, really happy with this. And you can see how if Orianna stacked a big wave, he would take much more poke, and it would be much scarier for him. Like, you saw how much that QW did, right? Imagine you're getting like 3 or 4 of those on a crash wave. And now, the thing is, if Orianna actually pushed even faster, right, let's say instead of having 3 minions here, right, which is a lot of low elo Oriannas will do this, instead of having 3 minions here, they'll accidentally crash the 6 minions, like stacked up from the first 2 waves, into tower now. And what that will do is that will cause the 3rd wave, when it gets here, the 3rd wave will end up here, like around your tower, right? And what that means is you'll hit level 3 first, because your minions will be all like grouped up and shit. You'll see it happens. You'll see it kind of happens here. Right, see how the wave is here, right? If Orianna pushed slightly, like, if Orianna stacked her wave better, right, and then, or like push faster and crashed it into tower, then this wouldn't be here, right? It would be more like here. And then you can focus these 2 minions down and get level 3 first. And then you can hit your spike early before Orianna does, and you can get like 1 full combo on her, and the lane's over. And you'll now be stacking a wave back into her. She's on half HP, very low on pots, very low on like sustain and stuff, and you can like kill her in 1 combo. So my point is, I hope you're following here. If you're not, like, feel free to drop a question, ask a question in the comments, whatever. My point here is Orianna is pushing really, really fast. I just read that comment in chat, by the way. Okay. I wonder if you can even read English. But yeah, Orianna pushed too fast. If she pushed even faster, Zed could potentially hit level 3 first. In this case, she didn't push that fast. She pushed quite fast, but not too fast. So he's not going to hit level 3 first, but he is in quite a safe position. Lost barely any health by the third wave. He's going to hit his spike, basically, without taking any damage. And he's, like, really happy right now with this lane. Again, you can kind of see he did it there, right? Like, he acted like he was going to walk up and Q this minion, and then he backed off a bit. And he didn't back off enough to dodge the W, but he did dodge the Orianna Q. See, look there, right? He, like, walked in, acted like he was going to Q this, and then walked away. And the Orianna Q ends up missing. The W still hits, but pretty good idea by him. And it you know, it helps him out. And now he's coming up on level 3. So now... Well, okay. I guess he missed a minion? What the hell? Okay. So now he's level 3. And so now, because he's level 3, he's hit his spike, he's about to be full health when this potion's done, he's one lane, essentially. Now all he needs to do is land one WEQ combo on this Orianna, and Orianna's fucked. He can now stack a wave into Orianna and then dive her, if that happens. So now it's pretty much going to be like waiting for Orianna to last hit a minion, maybe cannon, maybe this one, maybe this one, maybe this one, and go for a combo on her. Because he managed to make it to his spike without taking damage, because the Orianna pushed too fast. That's essentially the order of events here. Ori pushed too fast, he made it to his spike safely, he now needs to use his spike. So you'll wait for the Orianna to go for a last hit and then try and punish her, I assume. Probably this one, right? Yeah, I mean, literally. As soon he knows Orianna's going for that last hit, you can literally see she is in the animation going for this last hit right now. He immediately punishes it with the WEQ. Before Orianna even did the last hit, actually, he like read the last hit. And Orianna actually shielded it, so she knew what was coming. So, I mean, that's just the Korean reaction times though, maybe? I don't know. But you can see the idea here, right? He punishes her as she's going for this minion. And now he goes in, takes a combo. And yeah, look how much Orianna's chunked by. And if this was a different mage, like Victor, Zoe, Syndra, they would be even lower. They would be there. Because Orianna gets the shield and extra resistances from the ball. So, against the normal mage, this would be fucking over. This really would. All because she pushed too fast. And Zed99 let her push too fast. And also didn't take too much damage. Oh, and then he goes in. Fucking hell. And so, yeah. And he actually sees Orianna use the Q here. Orianna's Q is now on cooldown. He can just go all in. Really good use of opportunity by him. This is why it's important to play these champions a lot if you're going to main them. Like, you can't be playing 50 different champs if you're playing, like, shit like Zed and Kiana or whatever. And so now this wave is pushing into Zed. As we can see, its red wave is bigger than blue wave. And now Orianna's low with no mana, right? I didn't see her sums, actually. Let me just go check. Because if she has TP, that kind of changes things. He was pressing tab. Okay, so Orianna actually has TP this game, so it's not terrible for her. But right now, in this position, Orianna has no mana, no health. Is pushing into Zed99. All he needs to do is freeze. If he freezes the wave here, Orianna is forced to base and TP back. Because she can't break the freeze, right? She has no mana, no health. If she walks up to here to try and break the freeze, or here, the Zed99... The Zed will combo her, almost kill her, possibly even just completely kill her, and even if she did walk up, she doesn't have the mana to break the freeze anyway. So now that Orianna took a combo, she wasn't able... Like, imagine she played the lane correctly, right? If she played the lane correctly, right now, Zed99 would be this low, and the wave would be about here, pushing back into Orianna. But instead, it's the other way around, where he's full HP and it's pushing into Zed. All because she pushed too fast, and Zed99 let it happen. Okay, hope you understand that. I hope my explanation was good enough, because it's really confusing to explain. Like, I don't know. It's hard to put it into words, I guess. You kind of need to experience it a lot of times first. But yeah. I also talk about this in some of my other VODs as well. So if you don't fully understand it, you can go watch some of my Mage versus Melee VODs. I had like an RE coaching session. I talked about this and some other stuff. That was really good. So if you don't fully understand like why Orianna's pushing too fast and why that's bad, you can go and check out some of my my RE coaching session, the second one, because that was really, really good for this concept. So yeah, Zed acknowledges that she's pushed too fast, and now he lets the wave push into him. He acknowledges the wave is pushing into him and lets it happen. He doesn't like push into Orianna for no reason. A lot of gold plat Zeds right now, I see this all the time. They just push for no reason because Orianna is low. It can be good if you can dive the Orianna. If you can dive the Orianna reliably, pushing into her is really good. One sec. Just taking a sip of water. If Orianna right now is this low, it will be much better to push into her, because you can dive her under tower, and then as you dive her, you obviously kill her, right? And you deny a massive wave. So that's really, really good. But Orianna's quite high on HP, so you can't reliably dive her. So pushing into her right now would actually just give her a recall. That should give her just a chance to like farm safely under tower, and then recall after that. But right now, Orianna's kind of fucked. She either needs her jungler to come and bail her out, or she can base and TP. I think she should base and TP here. She looks like she's about to get ganked based on this ping. But yeah, because she pushed too fast, the wave is now frozen. Jungler's going to gank. It's fucked for Orianna. It's really, really over for Orianna here. Yeah, I mean, they flash on her. Nice. He seems like quite a funny streamer, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, now they push out the wave. Orianna TP's back, forced to TP, has no flash, no TP. And now, this is pretty much game over for Orianna. Timing sums as well, that's really good on a champ like Zed. Because Zed now gets his Dirk, right, which is lethality, and Orianna won't have her Seekers. In a matchup like this, against any mage who buys Seekers, if you can get your Dirk before they get your Seekers, it's over for them. It really is. So now we'll see what he does to push his lead, I guess. Maybe he roams, maybe he kills Orianna, I don't know. I haven't watched this game. I don't watch Zed much as well, because I typically don't play assassins. I find them pretty boring, I guess, because you're kind of forced to just take a backseat early against a good player, but yeah. So now, this wave is pushing back into Orianna. What he's going to do is he's going to slow push it. If he fast pushed it right now, Orianna could potentially come back to lane and freeze. And also, by slow pushing, he's going to deny some of these minions. Not those ones, sorry, like these ones. You'll probably see some of these minions die. Slow pushing, by the way, is just last hitting it. That's what slow pushing is. Just pushing it slowly. Orianna's still missing, because if Orianna comes right now and walks up, she's probably scared of a gank from either side. I can't see the map, obviously, but Orianna right now can't ward both sides. The wave is in a really fucked position for Orianna, so she can't be in lane right now. She pretty much has to just stay like really far away and soak XP. So she's probably warding right now, I imagine. But yeah, you see, if she came back slightly later, she would have missed this minion. So that's another benefit to slow pushing. Whereas if you fast push it, this minion would just walk into her. So that's another benefit to slow pushing when your enemy's gone. If you can't crash it in time before they're back, slow pushing will actually deny more minions. So that's why he does this here. And now you'll see these three minions are stacking up with these ones, and it's pushing into her. And oh, let's rewind there, I wasn't paying attention. And so this here, actually, super interesting interaction here. What happens here, Orianna sees that Zed is going to last hit this minion, right? So you see this minion get slow. Here. Orianna now assumes that Zed is going to last hit this minion. And so what she does, she walks up and pokes him as she goes for the last hit. But Zed99, he's in her head, right? He realizes she's going to poke me on this minion, so I'm just going to give it up. I'm just like, fuck this minion, I'm giving it up. I'm just going to go full combo on her. So that's what he does here. He knows Orianna's walking up to Q him, so he just uses his combo on her instead of getting the last hit. And he actually gets the minion as well, because he does the E on it, which is nice. And now this poke, now right here, it's easy to look at this, right? And it's easy to say, well, this was an even trade. And now Orianna's actually going to trade even more. And it's going to be bad for Zed. But actually, taking a bad trade like this is not bad when your wave is pushing into the enemy. Because two things can happen, right? If you trade more and you get her into lethal, after you crash this wave into tower, you can dive her, right? That's one thing. Whereas if you're there, she can't dive you, right? So if you get her to this low and you're this low, let's just say that happens. You crash this, you... Actually, you know what? Let me reset this explanation, explain it better. If you crash this into her and she's low, you can dive her, right? Free kill, right? So that's really bad for her. If you crash it into her and you're this low, you can just base, and she can't do anything to stop you, right? So pretty much no matter what happens now, if he trades with Orianna, if he loses the trades hard and the HP bars look like this, he bases. If he wins the trades and they look like this, he kills her. So either way, you see how it's good for him, right? Because he's stacking this wave into Orianna. Orianna can't stop this wave from stacking into her. It's now good no matter how the trades go, which is why Zed wants to trade here, even if it's a losing trade. Because it's good for him no matter what. If it goes wrong, he can bail out and base. If it goes well, he can potentially kill her and deny this whole thing. deny all of this. So that's why he's trading right now. And it's good to trade while you're slow pushing into the enemy like that. Unless you're scared of getting ganked before you crash it, which I'm guessing he isn't. Again, can't see the map, don't know where the wards are, but I'm assuming here he's not scared of a gank, because that's the only danger of doing this. Is that if you now potentially get ganked before crashing this, they can freeze it, and you'll miss the next wave. We see Hecarim there, actually. So since he knows where Hecarim is, he's not scared of a gank. And now Orianna actually decides to push it in. She decides to mess up the slow push, and normally this probably wouldn't happen. Again, it's rough because I can't see the map. But obviously, look where Orianna's standing right now, right? She's standing here. She could get ganked from any angle, so something's happening on the map to allow her to do this. But typically, this would be a really, really bad position for Orianna. In most game states, if Orianna has no vision of your jungler, she can't be doing this. But yeah, I can't see the map, so it's hard for me to say. But the gist is, Orianna can do this because I'm assuming she knows where the jungler is. But it's essentially a good thing, right? Because now Hecarim, you saw where Hecarim was on the ward. He's basically covering for Orianna, right? So now if the jungler comes and ganks, Hecarim will be there. So you're essentially, by having this lane state, and by, this all happened from the very beginning, right? When Orianna pushed too fast, this is where this all happened. From having this lane state, and it also happened when he came back to lane. He slow pushed instead of fast push around here. He didn't fast push this, he slow pushed it, which caused this lane state to come. And now Hecarim is forced to cover Orianna and waste time. And even if that's not the case in this game, in a different game it could be, where Hecarim's forced to cover. Or in a different game, she can't do this because she doesn't know where your jungler is. Either way, it's good for you. It's really, really good for you to have your lane in this position. But now the wave is pushing back into Zed99. Messes the queue up. Sag. So now, potentially, they can look for a gank. We'll see. Orianna probably wants to push this and reset. Until your W comes up, you can't really do much about it. You can see he's pinging it right now. It's like he needs his W. And yeah, look, now the jungler's here. And now she's probably dead again, right? She has no flash. Oh my god, brilliant bait. Oh, but Hecarim's here. And this is what I mean, right? Orianna died. Hecarim might die as well now. And yeah, boom, just like that. It's a winning trade for Zed. And you see what I mean, right? Orianna was in this disgusting position, like pushed up this far, because he killed her. Okay, let's go back right to the beginning. Orianna pushed too fast. That caused her to die to a jungle gank. This then left the wave here. And then Zed99 realized that and slow pushed it. And then Orianna had to push it in. Hecarim had to cover for her and waste his time because Orianna had to push it in. And then even though Hecarim was covering, because Orianna's so weak, because she died early anyway, it ends up being a good 2-for-1 fight for Zed's team. Basically out. That's a really good bait of the ult. So yeah, and that all happened because Orianna pushed too fast. All of that happened, and Zed recognized it and punished it correctly. So that was really, really good by Zed99 this game. Now, unfortunately, the wave... Zed99 lost the wave, and now Orianna's actually ahead of him. But Dr. Mundo and Gragas are really far ahead of their respective laners. So now he's kind of just relying on his team at this point. We'll see if there's more to talk about. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But yeah, essentially the takeaway is he realized Orianna pushed too fast at the beginning of the game. He, minimized the damage he was taking. Like, really just did not take damage. Like, you saw how good he was doing at, like, baiting out the spells and stuff. He even poked Orianna a bit, which is really, really good. And he took really, really good, like, opportunities with his W. Like, the moment Orianna walked up for a last hit or to poke him, he took that opportunity instantly and went all in. And those are the main takeaways here of this, like, VOD so far. Because there's, like, other than that, it doesn't seem like there's a lot, right? But there really isn't just that much. Oh my god, look at that fucking damage, wow. Yeah, and that's just the result of how this lane's gone so far, honestly. And let's see how he landed that, actually. I didn't really pay attention. So right here, Orianna just locks herself in Q animation. Or she moves up to Q the wave. Not gonna lie, this Orianna's kind of trolling by doing this. You have no idea where the jungler is. I'm not sure why she's doing this. But I guess you can take this away as well. If the enemy walks up and starts pushing into you like this, and you're playing an assassin, The best thing to do is to fight them, right? Like this. Because now Orianna has this push. Zed99 will never be able to contest and push into her, right? And obviously, if you want to create a roam timer, you have to be the one pushing. But what he realizes here is once Orianna pushes this, he can no longer push back, right? It's not worth for him to burst his whole combo on the wave just to push it out and potentially find a roam timer. Instead, he uses his W on the Ori. He's like, all right, I accept that this wave is gone. I can never take prio on this wave. I accept that. And combos her. And now what happens is she's low. So on the next wave, she's like zoned away and Zed can get prio on the next wave. Hopefully. And yeah, look how zoned away Orianna is now. And now this wave gets here. And where's Orianna? She's gone base, right? And so now, because Orianna's gone base, because obviously he realized Orianna's pushing this wave, I'm gonna hurt her instead. I'm gonna like fight her instead of pushing. He can now push this wave for free, right? Because he poked Orianna out of lane, he pushes this for free. And now when he pushes this for free, that gives him a juicy roam timer. And since he's like, and that's how you win the game, essentially. Once you're like ahead like this as Zed, you need to poke them out the lane so they can't stop you from getting roam timers and then use the roam timers. Now I'm guessing here he doesn't roam. I'm assuming the map, like nothing's happening on the map. Again, can't see it, I don't know. But I'm assuming he just like has nowhere to roam. Or maybe he just doesn't like roaming in general. Roaming can be pretty weird strategy, I guess, because you can risk losing waves. So maybe he just doesn't like to and he prefers to go for dives, we'll see. I don't know, I don't watch him much as I'm saying. Okay, so now he's going for a roam, it looks like. Okay, he's going for a recall, yeah. You can also recall, that's another thing. It allows you to set up recalls whenever you need to. When you have the lane prio. And he actually gets ganked here, which is pretty awful. Damn, that's really, really bad. And now the game's actually turned around. And so, even though Zed99 played the early game really well, he ended up dying to this gank, which really, really fucked him over. I guess he just didn't see Hecarim or something. Pretty bad by him. And yeah, now he threw his lead. So, I mean, there's not much to talk about from here. We saw how he played the early game. The early game went well. He threw his lead. Now the game's just kind of coin flippy. From here on out, it's pretty much going to come down to how he plays the fights. I guess we can watch, see what he does to get back in the game. And now the game's really rough with Gragas dying. That's really, really hard. Okay, so now we see Orianna here, right? Orianna's low on HP. Now she's going to base. She has no choice but to base. What this means is Zed will get the push on the next wave. So we see here, Orianna's in base right now, so Zed pushes out the wave fast. First off to deny minions, second off to get like a roam timer. Now let's see what he does. He sweepers, moves top. Really important you get sweeper as well. He has a control ward, he might look to place it somewhere. Yeah, there. That's a really nice control ward spot as an assassin. He takes blue actually. Yeah, Korea's built different, man. They just give blue to energy mid laners as well. I can't remember the last time I got a blue this early. God damn, man. Playing mid. Yeah, now he has blue, so he can just push waves forever. Really easy game for him. Team gets Herald. Again, he's at this point, he's just shoving out waves. And now the Orianna can't do anything, right? At this point, look. Right, Orianna is standing all the way back here. Because Zed has these items, and she's behind on items, right? Like, she's died a couple times. So now, at this point, because of his early laning being really, really good, he was able to get these items early. Now Orianna's forced to stand really far away, and you'll see what happens. He can just get prio on every wave, like this. He can just get prio. So now what it means is, he can just go help his team, go roam, and now they can get this Herald because of this. Like, Orianna, if Hecarim wanted to contest this Herald right now, Orianna can't help. So, basically it's a free Herald for Zed's team. Because he won the early lane. And at this point, that's all it is. It's just like literally shoving waves. And you'll see what happens here. Again, he's actually going for poke on her now. And now because he used his W, he can't get shove on this anymore. I'm assuming on the map, Pyke was missing, obviously, because he's roaming. So he like looks at the map. He's like, you know what? I don't need to push right now. That's another thing you should realize when you're playing a champ like this. You don't necessarily need to always push and roam. There are times where if there's nothing for you to do, if the map's like, I don't know, if the map's just like this, beautiful map, and bot lane is missing, top lane is missing, what is the point in pushing? to go and roam to one of those lanes when you don't even know where they are, right? There isn't one. And you risk in pushing, getting ganked. So that's like... So when you see like the maps like this and you can't see the enemy bot lane, can't see the enemy top lane, and you're playing a roamer, you don't need to push because you can't roam anyway. So instead, he decides to go for a Q on Orianna, right? Normally to like push it, he would like Q all this and stuff, but instead he goes for Orianna because he's like, fuck it, I don't need to push anyway. There's no point. I don't know where anyone is, I'm assuming. Clean dodge by him. Ah, that's a mid gap right there. I'm joking. But yeah, that's tough. But yeah, that was definitely a mistake by him, in fact, to use his W there when Pyke's missing. He's probably just autopiloting like he's playing on stream, right? But yeah, I think that's everything I need to say about Assassins, about roam timers. There's not really much to talk about. Another thing, a lot of the time when you're playing a champ like this, Zed, if you're playing against good players, you're not only going to win through roams. You can also win just by moving to the side lanes and hovering them. You don't need to gank, right? If you can just get prio and go to one of your lanes while they're there and protect them from a potential dive or a potential, play like that, that's also really good. So yeah, probably going to end it here. I mean, at this point, it's just like the game's really like... It's not in Zed's hands anymore, right? It's like in his team's hands because he got his team big leads. So now he just needs to hope his team does well with that. And that will happen because like that's just how it happened, unluckily. But yeah, the main takeaway is Orianna pushed too fast. The way he dodged the Orianna Qs and the way he like used his W, really important. So go back and look at that if you're interested. In general, his ability use is really, really good. But yeah, the main thing, the lane opening, the way Orianna pushed really, really fast here, and the wave ended up in this position, that is the big mistake from Orianna that led to all of this happening. So when you see the enemy mage pushing too fast, and you're playing Zed, Kiana, whatever the fuck it is, don't Q the wave. Don't throw your abilities on the wave to slow the push down. Don't all in the enemy before you hit your spike. Just in general, do not stop them from pushing. Just let it happen. And this will end up happening. You'll push back in, or you won't push back in, sorry. You'll get like a nice combo. The wave will end up fucked. Maybe you'll just push back into them. You'll be able to get a base off. It all depends. But when they push, they are screwed. Like this way, they push too fast and they let you get to your spike without taking any damage. You are screwed. What should happen is they should crash wave onto tower and poke you down really low. That doesn't happen. They're screwed. That's what I wanted to say. Thanks for watching, boys. In a bit.